What?
We're live now.
Yeah, we're live now.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Sort of holiday break. I mean, we were still here grinding stuff, but we haven't had a show since Christmas Eve. This is From A to B, presented to you by Osmo.com. I'm Andrew. That's Ben. Ben, how you doing, bud?
I'm good. Yeah, happy holidays. Hope everyone enjoyed all that. We're in bowl season. I'm a little salty. My last two bowl picks been real bad. Frustrating games, but plenty more to go. We got week 17 here. That's what we're here to talk about. I already talked about gambling this morning, some betting lines that I liked. And now you ready for the pseudo preseason type slate here?
Yeah, I think so. I'm excited about it. I guess it's a weird one. This is way. So I do projections. This is a week where it's just like it's the dartboard at the bottom of our of our screen. So we'll see how those go. I would be careful about projections. This is way more of like you just said. It's like preseason or it's like college where it's much more about like scrolling through Twitter, finding out the news. You got to keep abreast of the news. It's far more important than
Right in my wheelhouse.
yeah, exactly. Should be a
This
good
is
time. Like
like
I have projections, they're out there, but a lot of them it's just like, all right, I'm going to give Michael Thomas and Christian McCaffrey and whoever else, I don't know, half of their normal workload. So we'll see how that goes.
absolutely. I mean, you can't. It's just not the best predictable slate because there's so much of that. There's a lot of teams that very. What we're gonna do. We're gonna break down right off the top where everyone's at because I think that's one of the macro keys. Is you got a boatload of teams who have been eliminated. You have some new eliminated, and then you have teams fighting for the playoffs, and then a couple like the Saints who are just locked. So there we
Yep.
go.
Yeah, it's going to be weird too because like just one more thing about the projections. It's like you can't it's not only that hey, Teddy Bridgewater is playing instead of Drew Brees, but like they may play a ton of backups. So it may be mostly backup offensive line. So you can't just like put him into the same spot because it's just not the same spot.
Like Washington might be the running back. You're looking at yeah, exactly. It's not just a one guy and then everything else stays the same. It's certainly a domino esque effect.
Yep. And if they're not playing a bunch of their defensive starters, like yeah, it's just it's kind of wild. So I got a quick list here. Oh, and just for the record, we usually talk a little bit of college football on the show. We won't, but you did with Jason earlier this morning.
We
Uh,
did check it out.
yeah, a lot of big bowl games coming up, but the Osmo Odds show on this channel earlier this morning did discuss that. Check it out, like it, subscribe, blah blah blah. So games that matter, we got Bears and Vikings. Bears can get the 2 seed with a win and a San Francisco loss. The Vikings control
Rams
the.
lost.
Say what?
Rams lost. San Francisco win.
Oh
Right.
right, sorry, San Francisco.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I got you.
Great notes, Baron. The Vikings control their own destiny, so they win and they're in. Ravens versus Browns. If the Ravens win, they win the AFC North, so they are incentivized to win. The Browns, maybe there's the Baker Rookie of the Year narrative. Whatever, we'll get to that. Colts and Titans, which there'll be a showdown for that. Not a main slate, but don't worry about it. Both of them, they win and they're in. If they tie, they could both go out, though. I did.
Yeah, the Steelers could somehow get that spot.
Yeah. Chiefs and Raiders. The Chiefs, if they win, they get the number 1 seed and home field throughout the playoffs. If they lose and the Chargers win, then the Chargers would get the number 1 seed. The Chargers are looking for that. If somehow the Chargers and Chiefs both lost and the Patriots won, Patriots get the 1 seed.
Then you need a new person to do the shows with you because I'll be in a dark place.
Point being, Chiefs, Chargers, and Pats all have reason to play, so don't worry about them. The Eagles want to win. They're only out as if the Vikings lose and they win, but they will still play for it. Houston, yeah, like if a bunch of those top teams lose, they could still get the bye. Like if they win and the Pats lose, they'll get a bye, and they get the 6 seed if they lose. So they don't want to be that far down. So Houston cares. I think that's it. The Rams sort of, if they win or Chicago loses, they get the 2 seed. So they'll pay some attention to that game, but.
Yeah, there's a handful of teams that certainly have something to play for, but it's a giant spread slash depending on some moving parts. We could see late in the game, like if the Rams are up 28-7 late in the game, you're not going to see some guys. I think that's very, very probable. So we'll see. And then there's about, I think the games, that where you have two teams that have been out of it, are easier to project in some ways. Like you take like a Bills Dolphins type of game. It's like these teams, they're not going to be changing up much from week 15 to 16 to 17.
Right. Those teams are totally, yeah, exactly. A lot of the teams that have been dead for a while are totally fine from a projection standpoint. The sketchy teams, the ones that you basically want to avoid pretty much everyone from, is Dallas, New Orleans. Seattle's a little weird.
I think for me, that's mostly a void because they got the Cardinals at home.
I think so too. I like the Seattle defense. You could play running back roulette because one of them's probably going to have 120 yards and a touchdown. But, they're not incentivized to play their starters a lot. They're going to get the 5th or 6th seed no matter what. Who else? Oh, Carolina's kind of sketchy because they have said they might rest some people. The Bucks potentially have mentioned that they want to get Ryan Griffin some play at quarterback.
Yeah, so there's a middle ground of a handful of teams, and that's where you relate it to college or preseason. There are teams that are saying, we're going to see, and you got to keep up with the news. The Falcons, like Julio, Tevin Coleman, I'm not sure, and we'll get into that, obviously. Yeah, hope you had a good holiday break. You too, Patty. What's up, everyone? I think there's certain teams that, for me, I look at it honestly about expectations, and maybe that's wrong. But like teams like Carolina, the Falcons, like they just unraveled. It's not like a team like the Raiders or the Bills or the Jets, who they're building for the future. They have young guys. They want to play. The teams that were looking to the playoffs and came up short, I think they're in the worst spot in terms of the ones where maybe you see them call off the dogs a little.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens this week. But at the bottom, there's been just some disgusting wins from those teams. Just
the Raiders.
Embarrassing. What are you doing? Your Jets have won some games that they shouldn't have. The Cardinals had a win. Who did they beat that was really shocking a few weeks ago? Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Did they beat the Chargers? No. Couldn't have been.
Denver? I feel like somehow it was Denver.
Who did they get wiped out by Denver at home earlier in the year?
Oh, that was way back.
Way back, yeah.
The Cardinals did beat someone, and it was real disturbing. Maybe the Niners.
Whatever.
But whatever. The moral of the story is, yeah, teams are just there's pseudo parity. Like we don't have a 1-15. But we'll see. I know we're gonna get into DFS side. I will say, I think that the Steelers. I'm gonna say right now. I thought about it. I alluded to this on the earlier show. I think the Steelers are gonna get in. I think the Ravens are gonna lose.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. I know it's a tough spot. They are at home against the Browns. I think the Browns are going to give them all they can handle. And if that happens, the Steelers are not losing the game. They're playing at home against Cincy. That's the easy part. I think that's going to be the big shakeup.
Okay. That could be exciting. I do like, and whatever, let's use this to transition into quarterback, our first position of the 5 positions we shall be breaking down today, which is headlined, not entirely. He's not the number 1 guy, but Ben Roethlisberger. Very interesting. Steelers all hands on deck. Like, I think Steelers onslaughts are 100% live. I think onslaughts in general are going to be a thing to look for this week because there are going to be games that just go away kind of out of nowhere. So if it turns into a concentrated slate where it's like, oh, there's only 2 or 3 games that really went off, I think some onslaughts are potentially very interesting. But I do quite like Ben Roethlisberger. I think the clear number 1 is Pat Mahomes. The Chiefs do have something to play for. They need to win. And he's also like 3 touchdowns from the touchdown record. He could have that halfway through the second quarter. So, potentially that's a problem. But if he does that, you're looking in a good spot. And then I really like Rodgers, too.
Okay. With you, yeah. Mahomes, this is a week there's so much value opening up because of, the situations. I'm just going to take the obvious guys in the obvious spots. Like, this is a dream matchup they have to play. They're home against Oakland. He's going to play well. Similar with Big Ben. We'll see. We're going to get there, obviously. I didn't realize that Antonio Brown is hurt. Not that he's not going to play, but he's not full go just yet. So we got to see what's up with that. Regardless, Big Ben is going to have plenty of weapons to throw to. Connor's back. And these guys, at home, they're going to do their part, so no problem with that.
Yeah, and quarterbacks rarely get above 15%, 20% owned anyway. So I'm not like as scared of them. It's a little scarier because if you do play, whatever, who knows with Antonio Brown, but if you do play like Ben with Juju and Antonio Brown, like that will be popular. So you're going to have to do some other weird stuff, but I think it's pretty safe to just go after those QBs. I kind of really like Jameis against the Falcons. I think he's going to come in super low owned because of all this Ryan Griffin news. And if that's a game, I don't know.
So I think it's interesting in the sense that they're not going to take Jameis off the field if he's rolling. That's just not going to happen. I'd be stunned. So yeah, if he's playing horrible, I would venture to say they go to this guy. If he's playing horrible though in a giant field GPP, what's really the difference? Like you're going to be extra dead, but
yeah, exactly.
So
this
who cares?
is obviously GPP only. This is not a cash play, but
no chance it's cash. But yeah, I just think if Jameis gets his ownership wildly reduced, if he hits his ceiling, they're not going to say like, oh wow, you have 300 yards and a couple touchdowns in the third quarter. Like we're going to take you out. That would make no sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, shout out, Jack. We got you. And Chris, there's some like cheap weapons on Tampa Bay as well, so it really allows you to pay up for a lot elsewhere.
Yeah, Peyton Barber and the gang. I'm gonna go. It took me 17 weeks to just get out in front of it somehow, even though he's my favorite player. I like Josh Allen at home against the Dolphins. He torched them the first time. These are teams that talk about, like I said, there's not going to be any disruption. The Bills are trying to win. They're trying to finish strong, and they're at home against a Dolphins team that I think, they're beyond cooked, and they're coming up to Buffalo. I don't mind that as kind of a flyer if you want to take some savings.
Okay. There's not much savings, though. He's $6,000. That's my issue with Josh Allen. He's one of the more expensive quarterbacks, actually.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at where he's behind like 15 guys.
All right.
But it's very flat, to your point. I totally get. I know it's a difference, but when you're saying you can get $1,100 and you go get the best player maybe in the league, or you can take it, that's a reasonable point. I'm not even going to argue that. And to talk against myself even more, the last guy that I have, and it's your boy, 5,500. Oh. Is that who you're? Nope. I'm going Kirk Cousins. I think the Vikings, despite a bad matchup, they need this game. They're at home. He's one of those guys, I don't really worry about the matchup, to be honest, because he's just, when he's on, it doesn't matter. It's just, how bad will he be if it's bad?
That's true. And if they're down, which presumably they should be, who gives a shit if he throws 2 touchdowns to the Bears? Hopefully he throws 3 or 4 to his own guys. Kyle Fuller. Wait, no. Fuller's still around. Who was their slot corner who was also amazing is
I don't know his name. He's gone. Eddie Jackson is hurt. They're banged up a little. And the Bears, yes, they have something to play for, but realistically, I think in their mind, like the chances of them beating the Vikings and the Rams losing is really minimal. So I wouldn't be stunned to see them ease back, especially if the game gets off to a rocky start.
Okay. I like that one. I thought when you said my boy, you were talking about Brady, who's the same price as Josh Allen, who I don't hate, but like I will get to this, but I kind of prefer Sony Michel. I do think it makes sense to play some sort of Patriot exposure because I think they'll kill the Jets, but we'll see what happens. Whatever. Maybe they don't, but they're incentivized to win, and I think they don't mess around too much. Like that, getting a free game is a big deal.
Oh, they're not. If I had one team to just win, even though I know the Chiefs are going to win there's some really, you don't want to say easy, but like these, if you do a mega teaser with some of this chalk, the Patriots are at the top of my list. In Foxborough against the Jets, I don't see, border something unforeseen, them having too much trouble. I just worry about Brady's true ceiling these days. It seems even when they're going, like you said, Sony Michel will really deter just the mega upside, especially obviously Brady's a 0 and he's not rushing for anything.
What?
You think he's just gonna do Josh Allen?
The guy's has 1,000 career rushing yards. That's way more than Josh Allen.
Barely at this point. Yeah, him and Lamar I think are like tied. I saw that stat.
He's great at sneaking, like whatever. But I don't think he's gonna sneak at the goal line like he used to in years past. They've been giving that to like freaking James Devlin.
The Drew Brees sneak that can't be stopped. They need to do something about that. I don't know if I'm in the minority there. It's just stupid. He just sticks it over for 1 second and then it's over. You can't stop
Oh,
that play. It's
yeah.
impossible. That's not possible to stop. Like,
That's true.
um,
Yeah, I like it. Let's bring on some hate for Drew Brees. I feel like everyone's just like it's the Drew Brees love fest because everyone hates Tom Brady, which I get, and Rodgers has had a bad season, so it's just like, oh yeah, Drew Brees so great. It's like, come on, that guy, career-wise, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, but come on, he is a distant third of the best careers in the NFL at this point. I would put Phil Rivers' career over his.
yeah, that's insane.
What?
That's just not. I don't know about that. I'm not a huge Drew Brees guy, but
Yeah, he cheats. He plays in a dome, and he sticks his hand over the goal line. Doesn't count.
Now everyone's gonna have to go to the dome. That's the real problem in the NFC. They just let the Saints get the home field. Big mistake.
No, that was not sharp by the rest of the league. They should have won more games, in my opinion. I got a real sick one for you.
Nick Mullins.
Nope, sicker.
Teddy Bridgewater.
No, not that sick.
Okay, so in between
the Teddy
Mullins,
Bridgewater thing, I think we need to pump the brakes on. I don't think he'll be popular, but I think he will get played.
oh, he's gonna get played. I see no reason to do that personally, but
people think he's awesome, and I'm not sure why that is. Like, I get it. He's like, he was a pro-ready guy back in the day, but remember, he did play a few games in the NFL and was awful. He's gonna play with like a backup offensive line. Did he have a good preseason or something? Because I feel like all season people have been like, Teddy Bridgewater's easily like the 16th best quarterback in the league. And
I don't know about all that. I mean, he was
say that, and then the guy starts to play, and it's just like, okay, well,
he was looking like a good player, but then he had like a truly catastrophic injury. Let's not forget that. Like, all right, hold on. I want to find this egregious guy. Is it your boy Matthew Stafford?
Nope, it's my other boy, who's probably playing his last NFL game, or his last starting NFL game. He will be a clipboard holder for a few seasons, I'm sure, but I got a little Blort interest.
I didn't even. Where is he on this slate?
He's $4,400.
Yeah, see, like, you know why I didn't notice him? Because I don't scroll to guys that are in that range.
I don't either. I sort by value on my granted egregious projections from this week, and he popped. And he's 4,400. You got your boy Dede. I don't know. Houston's gonna kill him. This is classic Bortles, right? Where he comes out and he's got 75 yards passing and 2 interceptions in the first half, and then he smashes value by just like throwing for 304 in the second half in garbage time.
Oh boy!
One last time. Whatever. People are playing narratives this week. I used to dance with Bortles quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost a year ago in a couple weeks where he went toe to toe with the Patriots to go to this like. I would rather. I'll say this. I'm not sure if I get to him, to be honest. I am infinitely more interested in a guy like that than someone like Teddy Bridgewater.
Yes.
Because there's just a real ceiling there. Now,
and he has a better floor than Bridgewater too, because he's really good. He rushes a lot.
The thing I worry about Bortles is if he just if they bench him again. I don't know if they would. Why would they go back to Kessler at this point? It's the last game.
Let him go out. Ugly ass quarterback room, man.
Yeah, I wonder who's the third guy. Do they have a third? Nope, I don't see anyone. They could use some fresh blood in there. All right, anyone else before we move on here?
No, I mean, depending on how much you think the Rams just destroy, like I sort of see it would only be in team onslaughts, but I can sort of see a little Jared Goff with some CJ Anderson and some Woods and Cooks or some Everett or whatever, mix and match there a bit, but that's it.
No argument there. I see that. Probably not going to get to it just because I think the Rams are one of those teams that the game itself is going to determine what they do with players. And someone like Goff, I don't think we see him in the fourth quarter because they're going to be up by 20 points.
Yeah. I mean, that's certainly in the cards. Yeah. But if they're up by 35 at that point, he probably did some damage.
Yeah. No,
I agree that Mahomes and Ben are the premier plays. Don't mind, I think Rodgers is a pretty clear third play. And then you get into some stats. I will have some just because I think Chiefs and Steelers onslaughts are not going to be particularly sneaky this week. So
All right. Before we get to running backs, I just noticed something in chat, and I'm gonna have to. So, friend of the show, Michael Stein, Bortles went to my high school. The next comment is mine too.
yeah.
So I'm assuming that you both went to high school together. There you go. I don't know if he went to college. He went to college at UCF. I don't know where he went to high school.
We'll find
Good for
out.
him.
We'll get our production team on it.
Yeah, Auburn, just laying the wood right now. Anyway, that's all I got with quarterbacks. You want to move on, or we got any? Okay.
That's it for me. Go to what? Running back?
Sure. So this is where I'll just tell you right off the top, because I'm going to be recommending a lot of I like Travis Kelce. I like the Seahawks defense. I think you can really save at running back. Because most of the premier guys, I don't even know if they're going to play. And there's just a lot of value that opened up in my book.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. There's a ton of value out there. So it does make it it makes it a lot more appealing to spend up on your premier offense onslaughts, which it's going to make the Chiefs and Steelers very popular, but it's okay. It's going to be for good reason. Hit me. What do you think?
So I'll just start jumping around here, and you can tell me which one of these, borderline made up people you want to get into. So Peyton Barber, I think, is pretty secure despite him just not being that great. Against that Falcons defense, he's at home. He's still ridiculously cheap. I'll start right there, and then I'll flip it on the other side of that game. I don't think Tevin Coleman is going to play. Brian Hill, who was Josh Allen's teammate at Wyoming, good player, hard runner. He looked great last week. I think they want to get him some work. He's a young guy. They called up Jeremy Langford. I don't worry. He's more of a scat back anyway. I don't think he's taking many carries, if any. Brian Hill might get a chance this week, and those are the type of guys. I'm not trying to do that a lot, but here and there, 3,900, sign me up for both of those guys. I'm not saying I play them together, but you can find guys in the 3K range on running backs.
Yeah, there's a few. That Jeff Wilson guy from San Francisco, lead dog again.
Yep.
He could catch some. If he catches some, like the Rams are pretty atrocious over the middle of the field, that is a potentially nice spot. Jamal Williams is only $6,000. He should be more than that. He was pretty clearly playing every single snap, but.
So that was an interesting range. What are your thoughts? Not to jump, but it's the same guys with Spencer Ware and Williams on the Chiefs. Or is that just you're not going to be messing around, or you think you incorporate them in the onslaughts?
Let me look at this. I have Williams as a pretty solid play. I'm not sure if I have Spencer Ware even in, so that may be part of that.
Let's see what this guy. He practiced on full on Wednesday. I think I don't want to say it's 100%, but I'm almost certain that he's playing.
How much does he cost?
He is right next to Williams. There's 6,200 and 6,100.
Okay.
So.
Spencer. I have Spencer Ware is out presently,
okay.
So that will change things. I have Damian Williams as a good player right now, Spencer Ware, but that is with Spencer Ware out. So if he is in, that will certainly change quite a bit.
Okay. I think it muddies the waters, as you're alluding to.
Yeah, I could see it because I do, whatever, we'll get to this one later, but I do like the Chiefs' defense potentially. I could see, trying to guess one of them pretty much and playing that with the Chiefs' D, thinking they just blow them out and get a bunch of stuff on the ground. But I don't know. I do think they'll try to get Mahomes. They'll at least give Mahomes a shot to get those 3 touchdowns. Did you hear? Where did I hear this? Something about he needs 12 points to have the greatest fantasy season of all time. He'll break the Manning thing from a few years ago. Whatever. That's gonna break every 2 years for our entire lifetimes. Next
words out of my mouth were, it's a product of. He's great. I'm not saying he's not, but it's more a product of the league than anything else.
Yeah, definitely.
Thoughts on Langford? I'm not. I just talked about Brian Hill. I don't think I can go to Jeremy Langford. I saw him a lot in college, but I don't think I'm there just yet. He is the flat 3K though. I will say that.
Yep. CJ Anderson, it's fine play.
No problem
They should
with
pound
that.
on San Francisco. He's a little more expensive, but I think there's still room for upside there. And then Devontae Booker, Philip Lindsay is not walking through that door, or if he is, he's gonna have to open the door with his elbow.
Elbow, yep.
Yeah, and probably is not going to be able to carry the football very well. I do think Royce Freeman will get the sort of more first and second down work, but Devontae Booker is $3,000 and is a much better pass catcher. So I kind of like that. Not in love with it, but for $3,000, there's plenty of places to get value, but I could see that being in the mix for me.
See, like, yeah, I'm with you. Like, if I wanted to take Langford, I would just take Booker. I think you're getting more bang for your buck, and you don't get any lower than 3K. You mentioned CJ Anderson, and I get it. I'm not opposed to that. I like Elijah McGuire a little better. He's just this is a guy I think that I just like this guy.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for him. He also this is somewhat biased. He made me a lot of money last week. He was a key play. He can catch the ball, and against the Patriots, I think they're going to take away Robbie Anderson, who we'll get to with wide receiver, and I think Elijah McGuire's still at mid-5 price is pretty cheap for what he's doing.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Of the three guys, where we should. I mean, you had a killer week last week, second in the Wildcat for $50,000. Congratulations, brah.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, man. I had some good teams as well last week, but where that team that you had, where it really separated itself, because I think we were both on that game a lot, but
Absolutely.
I was very much saying I more or less made a group that said play at most play exactly one of Robbie, McGuire, and Herndon, because I just didn't see the whole offense going nuts like that. And your team had all three of them, right, with Darnold?
Yep, and then it had Adams and Jamal Williams running it back.
Right. So my best team was the other way. It had Rodgers, but Rodgers was the one you wanted naked with all of the Jets' weapons, which was just a weird combo.
Yeah, that I wasn't getting to. The key was, and this just to bring it back to this week, last week when I did that, part of my thinking with the Jets onslaught was if I get that part right, the reason I was able to climb is I had Antonio Brown and Kamara left. This week, to me, it's kind of the opposite. My stacks in terms of percentage of salary is going to be enormous because I'm going to have Mahomes with Tyreek and Kelsey stacks.
Oh, yeah.
But there's so much value. I don't think it's that big of a problem. So I'm looking at running back specifically to maybe pay down because I don't see that. I guess we can jump. This is your account. Your boy James Conner is back. Do you think he just takes over?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I guess so. Jalen Samuels has looked fine, but Pittsburgh can throw. I've been kind of saying this all year. Not that I don't think Le'Veon Bell's talented or anything, but I think I was earlier on to James Conner than other people just because, really what made Le'Veon Bell so good and why he was, he's such a patient runner. He waits for the hole to develop. You know what helps you wait for a hole to develop? A fucking amazing offensive line. And they have a huge, amazing offensive line. So anyone getting most of the work behind that is going to be okay. And if he comes back and just gets all the workload, I think he's in an amazing spot. But I guess the counter argument to that would be hey, anyone they throw out there looks fine, so why don't they try to give these guys a little rest and go back and forth a bit? I don't know that they'll do that, but
that's the tricky part. This is a volume issue. I agree. You could put anybody back there, and it's funny in a lot of ways. I think Jalen Samuels is more of what they truly want to do than what Connor is. I think Connor's a better player, but that's neither here nor there. So this is where you're going to have to scour Twitter, watch the Sunday show. We're going to be talking about that because if there's no indication, it's tough, but he's in a great spot if they give him the work. And I think he's going to get a good amount, to be honest.
Okay. I like that. Mixon, your boy, is pretty cheap.
He's got to be the guy you run it back with, right?
I guess, yeah.
Who else do you like? Cody Core.
Nope. I mean, nobody.
John Ross. Yeah, nobody. Oh, no. I just mean if you're going to run it back.
Right.
It's limited options.
And then Melvin Gordon is probably coming back full. Chargers need to win. I don't know. 8,200 is a lot, but it's Melvin Gordon. That guy's awesome.
Oh, he's a monster. I worry a little just because he's with the injury. Let me see with the times. Will they know? Do the Chiefs play early? Are Are they all late?
That's a good question. There's a massive late slate, by the
No,
way.
so they're all late, which is smart at least. So that's nice because obviously, if the Chiefs won the Chargers, I wouldn't be stunned to see them call off early. But they'll be playing at the same time, so it's soccer style.
I guess you're worried if the Chiefs are up 31-3 at halftime, but
I think that's a real concern. Like coaches are going to notice that, and they're going to. Melvin is going to be the first guy off the field.
yep.
What about? Oh, sorry, I was just going to throw one more top end. I think the guy I'm most confused on is Saquon.
Yeah.
I don't like that game, but
Well, here's the thing. I think this is another one to be like watching Twitter for is like, is Dallas going to play all their backup defensive players? Because if that's the case, then like, the Giants' offensive line is really bad, but they should be able to handle that. There's also the like, there's the narrative Saquon versus Baker, rookie of the year. Giants got made fun of all year for playing using the second pick overall on a running back.
well, Giants quarterback looked good yesterday. Daniel Jones, baby, mark that down, chat. Daniel Jones, next New York Giants quarterback.
Yeah.
In ink, it's a lock.
My buddy on DFS says Melvin Gordon carries too much risk at his price. I'm with you for the most part, but like it depends on where the ownership goes. If everyone thinks that way, and for some reason, freaking Melvin Gordon, like that monster
2%.
stud is 2%, then it's not enough risk for then you're total. I'm totally
Cash,
fine
no
embracing
chance.
that risk. Yeah, cash, absolutely zero chance.
Yep, I'm with you. And that's going to be a theme this week. I'm going to make teams with guys that I truly think, if you told me binary question, do you think he's going to be a good or bad? Answer is going to be probably no, because there are going to be some studs that you're going to get at ownership that it's just you can't get during the year, and that's because we're not going to know their role.
Right. Yeah, I think it's Jamal Williams and C.J. Anderson for cash would be like my first two. They're just like nice prices, reasonable. Should have a lot of workload, big favorites. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I'm just looking. Talk about you mentioned him earlier, Sony Michel.
Yeah, it's just a question of will the Patriots. They'll certainly try to run all over the Jets. I think the Jets are a little bit better in the front seven than they are in the secondary, so it may be a little tougher to do that, but they're definitely going to try to do that. And the guy has legitimately, he does the old LeGarrette Blount thing, but he has, he's shown a little more explosiveness than that. Maybe he's more like LeGarrette Blount from 3 or 4 years ago. I think 120 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. It's very scary because he might not get anything. And he's the guy that he could pretty easily have a good game where he runs 16 times for 83 yards and it's 8.3 points. It's the argument we were making against Derrick Henry at Showdown with Laffy the other last week.
Absolutely. It blowers floor, but I mean, I'm not going to take one game, but at the same time, Jamal Williams gashed them last week from I think the Jets defense a little worn down in Foxborough. It's not great.
EMAC has a trivia question for us. Says, don't peek. How old's Adam Vinatieri? He's 44 or 45. I think 45.
I would have said 42, but I don't know.
Played. I don't know. I think he was with the Patriots. He's been the Patriots kicker since at least 98 or 99. So I don't know. I'll say 21 seasons.
That's a long time.
Yep. Sure is.
We
should move to wide receiver because we do also have a hard out today. We have On the Contrary with our boss and the inimitable Evan Silva, as well as Chris Baggs, hosting after this at 3:30. So moving to wide receiver, I think there's 2 pretty clear top cut options. I mean, I guess both Steelers. I guess there's 4. So DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, and then the 2 Steelers.
With you. We got the Steelers are just. It's going to be more how many do you want than everyone is in play for them. I'm with you there. I don't know do you want to get into those guys? I think it's pretty obvious what you just said. They're all in very good spots. I think the Vikings guys are where I'm going to get a lot of leverage. I'm taking a stab with Thielen and Diggs. Not going to be popular because of the matchup, because it's not great. And them and Cousins still is Cousins, Diggs, and Thielen versus Big Ben, AB, and Juju isn't yes, more times than not, the Steelers are winning that. They can beat a stack like that. And if you do that, you're getting it way cheaper and way less ownership.
Yeah, we've seen Cousins, Diggs, Thielen combined for 80 points like 3 or 4 times this year. So
Easily. And it's people when you have that ceiling, I'll take like when you have the ceiling, the ownership like they do, I will roll the dice in a slate like this.
Yep, like it. Emax says he's 45 with 23 seasons. It's a little short on that. 23. That's a long time. That reminds me of a Washington Huskies game from 1993, wherein we had a second onside kick for overtime against a young man by the name of. That's my Emac.
Wash State tonight.
Yep, absolutely.
Huskies not for a couple days, but Emac will certainly keep us abreast of the what's going on in Northwest football. That's what we do. Go Huskies.
Do that. So isn't that where Isaiah Thomas and Markel Fultz both go there? Can
confirm. Excellent. It's all true.
Okay, great. Is the AB knee injury a concern? If it's a real injury, yeah. We don't really have a lot of info other than that he popped up as questionable today. So it would be. As of right now, I don't really know.
Seth did just ask, and I want to get this in the show, so no better time than now. You going to leave some salary on the table in a week like this?
We'll see. I haven't built a whole lot yet, but yeah, I think you can. It's very difficult for me always to be like, when it's like last man in, it's like, sure, I'll take Kenny Golladay instead of Julio. Like, I don't know how often I'm going to be able to make myself do that, but I don't think it's
NBA crazy. NBA, NHL, NFL, more times than not, you probably want to upgrade. It's a situation like this. If I make teams and I love the team and I fit Seattle defense, there might be where I say, you know what, I'm going to take a $2,500 defense and just keep the team. Yeah. So, like that. But all in all, I'm still skill-wise going to try to allocate most of the salary.
Yeah, I think so too for the most part. But is it much more live this week than it has been all season? Absolutely.
1,000%.
Yeah. Okay, next run. Speaking of Kenny Golladay, I do like him this week. I liked him to run back in sort of, Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Jamal Williams stacks. Have Golladay coming back the other way.
Correct.
I don't know. Galladay's just really good. He's still got some kind of issue, but he's been playing through it. He's been bossing.
Against really tough corners, too. Like, he's been playing well in tough matchups. Buffalo, then he had 15 targets last week. I'm with you. It's just a guy. He's going to get work.
Yep. Robbie still looks good in the projections. You alluded to this earlier. I think that's a little tougher. New England's secondary is really, really fast, like all of them. And that's what Robbie does is he runs past people.
I might have 0% Robbie. I'm just going to come out and say that right now. I was on him last week. I think he's going to be really popular again. And I don't know if it's a recency bias, Robbie Anderson's floor is 0. Like, we have seen this time and time again. I know it's with the Jets, limited options and whatnot, but I don't think this is the best spot. And if ownership is there, I'll gladly take, not that I'm even super keen on these guys, but like give me Alshon or Jarvis Landry, someone like that, where I might get a 10th of the ownership. And it's like, okay, you know what? I'll take my chances.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Landry's been atrocious this year, but he's getting the opportunity. He's just kind of doing Jarvis Landry things.
It's not been good. Your boy Jordy Nelson, I don't think is that insane. He's getting like 10 targets a game, and again, there's multiple super stacks where limited options to run it back with, like Raiders, Bengals. There's a third team, and I can't think of it, where it's like, who am I running this back with if I want to? Not that many guys to choose from.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, Jordy was on my list. I don't really like it, but yeah, it's a possibility. The Chiefs defense stinks. Tyreek Hill, really, really fast. Oakland Raiders secondary, really, really slow.
And again, it's one game, but I just want to bring this up. When the Raiders and the Chiefs played, the Raiders played well. Travis Kelce broke the slate. He was great. He torched them. Tyreek Hill had a horrible game, and he legitimately almost had 50.
Yep.
Like, I watched that entire game. Mahomes missed him multiple times on 70-yard bombs, and then Tyreek Hill dropped one. Like, I have a feeling that there's some recency bias, and everyone's going to gravitate to Travis Kelce when the script could have been flipped so easily.
Yep. They tried like 4 times.
Oh, yeah, and it was there. It was like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you talked about this at length. Like, Oakland secondary is just slow.
Yep.
So
Yeah, Mahomes was really bad in that last Raiders game, but maybe
that was like
Mahomes
his
will be a
worst
little
game.
better. Yeah. And he still probably put up 350 and 3 touchdowns, but he just like really, really did not play very well.
DFS, good point. Tyler Eifert. I saw the Steelers defensive coordinator prepping for him. Not great, Bob. These guys, I don't know how they don't know who's active and not active.
Just, Steven Smith is now like he's like the Woj of the NFL, where
Serious,
he's
though.
actually giving for anyone the story legendary. Like a lot of these like anonymous. Woj is just there's this whole thing about him being the 31st team. Like he just makes some of these rumors happen on his own, just because he's so tapped in and everyone's talking to everyone, and he'll sort of give a piece of information. And I feel like maybe Stephen A is doing that at this point to the Steelers, so that they worry about Tyler Eifert.
Yeah, Auburn's playing for keeps right now. My God. Well, I got that one, but not unfortunately one of my. Let's go Syracuse. Anyway, anything else on wide receivers?
Stills
We
and
got
Foster in the same game. Don't hate either. Stills the same idea as these other guys, just really fast. He's had some big games. He had a big game and was mega chalk, then busted, and he was super unpopular. I played a little last week, was not great again, but that's a guy.
that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah, exactly. If 1 out of every 4 games he goes nuts, like, and you play him on the weeks that he's 2% owned, there's still not a lot of targets there. So, like, the problem, Tannehill doesn't throw the ball a lot, but like they don't have a lot of guys to throw to. So he's certainly, and he's cheap enough that he only has to do it once or twice. So really like,
Yeah,
really
I
like
think
him.
Kenny Stills is who he is. Like he's just perpetually a dart throw, and you're gonna get it. You're gonna get paid off a couple times a year, and you got to make the most of it.
And I do like Chris Godwin with Jameis, but that's about it for me for wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, if I do really pay down at running back, I'm not gonna try to. I didn't see as much value. I'll say this: if Julio sits, obviously Ridley and Sanu will get a boost. I don't know. It's not a ton.
Chat's really, really on fire today. They're sharp. They've been, doing their research, really starting to get the game theory aspect of things. And Tyler Eifert might be pretty popular amongst our crew here. Very sneaky play.
Yeah, in Showdown, you just got to take those broken. You know how it is. Backup quarterbacks, guys on injured reserve. Hunter Henry. Wait, is Hunter Henry back yet? I think he is coming
it's
back.
the other one. The one from the Ravens that sounds like that. Hayden Hurst. It's like what?
That guy. Mark Andrews, baby.
Shut
Untapped in.
Another shot.
Anyway. Is right. Well, we just mentioned some egregious tight ends. There are actually good tight ends on the slate.
Yep.
3 of them.
Yeah. Kittle and Kelsey separate from Ertz by a bit for me. Discuss.
Same.
Okay.
With you. And I get it. I just, combining with the fact that Ertz last week was just out of control, I'm not, I may sprinkle him in, but if I had the money for all 3, I would take Travis Kelce. If I need to save a bit, I'll take Kittle. If I, for some reason, have Foles, Alshon, Ertz, I don't really see myself doing that, but maybe.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Before I forget, one last wide receiver I forgot to mention. Randall Cobb, very sounding questionable, and
MVS?
yeah, I like MVS. I like that guy.
He's good.
Good 40 time. He's really tall. That's all I need.
all you need. Don't I know it? Yeah, Packers, obviously, you can get. Devontae Adams, though, is just unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. But that's more like I like MVS as like a second or even third piece in a Packers onslaught. Like, I think you can play Rodgers, Adams, and MVS, obviously. But I think you can play Rodgers, Adams, Williams, and MVS. Just go nuts.
Oh, this is good. The friend of the show just says Julio and Tevin are listed as good to go. It's fitting that the Falcons have carried on their tradition of just being the most tilting team through the entire year. I thought maybe I could get some of my Falcons Bucks back with Brian Hill this week, but if Tevin Coleman is active, I think that's probably a no-go. It's just going to be really murky.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Oh, speaking of massive tilt, I saw, and now that we're on tight end, this is perfect. We don't have to play Ricky Seals-Jones this week, buddy.
He's out for the year?
Yeah, he's out. I mean, he's out for this week, which is the year for them.
So how mad are you going to be when I think it's Jermaine Gresham is the other guy, like when he just has like 8 for 160? It's like Ricky.
That guy's been in the league for like 12 years, and he probably has 8 for 160 on his career.
He was on the good Oklahoma teams, like when I was actually like young.
Yeah,
feels like it's like, well,
he was on the. I feel like the Bengals have been on Hard Knocks like 6 times.
Yes, he was on.
And he was really likable.
Jermaine Gresham, good for you, guy. If you want to be sneaky, I think you get Steelers exposure with Vance McDonald. I have no problem with that, but there's not a ton. Evan Ingram, again, don't love it, but I see it. I would say Kyle Rudolph, but he's fresh off the outlier game of all time where he caught a Hail Mary.
I was going to ask you that. Is there any chance you have any Kyle Rudolph in your Kirk Cousins stacks?
No, honestly, no. Like I would too. It's just coming off that. I don't want to say never. There's always a chance, but he's not going to be even a remote priority from someone who likes the Vikings too.
Yep.
So sick. I don't know. There's not cheap tight ends that I'm looking to go to.
I'm going to have a stupid amount of Kelsey.
I don't hate that. I get it.
I do like Kittle, and yeah, Ertz is, I don't know. Ertz, yeah, after the big week, and like, you know, Big Dick Nick is not going to, I don't know. He just can't do that.
Yards.
Yeah.
That's what really stopped. I'm not complaining, obviously. You know, I looked at my lineups, and it was to the point, like, I had, like, the real core of, like, the people who won the Millie. Like, that, you know, you get that game. Problem was I didn't have Zach Ertz. And that, like, Herndon was great. He got me, like, 20, but you can't survive when Ertz has 40.
Yeah. I like Herndon as a cheap tight end this week.
That's not bad. Yeah, he really showed some skill. Like, I watched that game, and he's a good player. Yeah. Definitely going to be part of the Jets' future.
Your favorite, Evan Engram? I will have a little bit of, you know.
I get that. Yeah, him and Jared Cook are like that next tier for me of, okay, I see it, but they just, barring something so ridiculous, the guys who were that premier, they're just in such a higher range of outcomes. Like Travis Kelce and even Kittle for me, they just possess, obviously Ertz too, but I don't see it this week. They just possess that 30 points where it's like Evan Ingram can't get that, even if he does hit a ceiling.
Right. Kelce might be 30% owned. So I do think one tournament play, and this is not, you know, like clearly I will mostly play him with my Mahomes. I think it's an interesting spot to play some Chiefs stacks without Kelce, just for leverage, because he has 7-point games sometimes.
No problem with that. I do think another way to do it is to play double tight ends with Kelce.
Yep.
And say, you know what, I'm going to use him, but I'm going to, like take 2 of them, like Kittle and Kelce. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people are going to load up that much salary at tight end. Millie doesn't agree, apparently. It was just a suggestion. It's not crazy.
I don't mind the other Jimmy G in some Packers stuff. Like, he keeps getting looks down there. He sucks. I don't know.
So bad. Such a bad year.
Yeah, really bad. And then Gerald Everett, maybe.
Rams, perfect spot. Yes, Kelce and Kittle are both going for the record to beat Gronk, so it's not unreasonable to think that maybe they get a few extra looks.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Kelce is those two are by far the best plays on the slate. I will have one of them in most of my lineups, but no one's ever a lock, so I will be pushing around a little bit.
Yeah, and those narrative things, as we've talked about that before, for every one that comes true, there's 4 that don't come true. And some people, especially in basketball. I feel like we tend to remember like, oh well, yeah, it's D'Angelo Russell against it. It's like, yeah, what about the other four guys who didn't play better? So
Right. That
be
time it
careful.
was his birthday for bobblehead night in
Yeah,
MSG on a second
on
night
a
of the back to back.
Wednesday.
Dude.
Yeah, like every time. It's just how did I miss that? It's like, well, let me tell you.
Yeah, backfitting is
Um,
a little easier than forward fitting.
yeah, we can review hindsight plays.
Yeah.
I'm much better at that.
Sign up for my box score tactics package.
Yes, dropping now. That's behind the paywall, though. In the meantime, though, if you can give us a like, we say it every time. We appreciate it. We don't have any giveaways. Sorry, Christmas is over. But it's still, you help us out, and we appreciate that as we close 2018.
Yeah. Oh, we got giveaways of hot fire plays, bruh.
Straight lava.
And we'll have,
And
don't worry, we'll have some ads to read again for you before long. But
I know you're missing those little breaks in the show.
yeah.
Or maybe that's when they turn the volume up. We don't know, to be honest. So you know how it is. Times
Right.
are
That's
tough.
why my mic mysteriously shorts out sometimes. It just like goes down and there's somebody like reading a promo over it.
Yeah, I will say I love our chat. I love the people in there. If I find out that your mic this entire time hasn't been working, because I can never tell, I'm gonna be mad at chat that no one alerted us.
Yeah, we
So
can't tell at all.
I'm assuming you're all good. But if I get the tweets like, yeah, man, it was a good show, but I couldn't hear Andrew. It's like I wish, when we weren't live, that was acceptable because we didn't know.
Right.
But
That
you
was
know how
a bummer though, because we did take some time out of our Christmas Eves to record a show. It's like our most watched ever, and like apparently after 5 minutes, I was just basically gone. And
start
everyone's
with
like,
just
"Hey, great
fine.
show, thumbs down."
It wasn't. Yeah, that was a problem. Are there any chalk stacks that you were fading this week? That's a good question. Um, I'm trying to think because I really do I like the Steelers and I like the Chiefs. I think those are the two most obvious.
Philly. Do you think that's a
Yeah,
chalk
I'm
stack?
like,
I'm not on that.
yeah, I don't. So I'll say this because I'm just going to be obviously honest about it. I
Millie, shut
think that
up.
I can get away with
Millie.
getting the right obvious stack and still leveraging somewhere else. So I'm not going to fade it just to do it because I think the rest of my lineup will be able to be structured enough where if the Chiefs go off for 50, I'll be all right.
I think that's the way to do it too. It's make some leverage somewhere else. I think those are very very nice spots, and there's some other like crazy ones I don't hate either.
The
Like I'm gonna
Vikings.
have I'm gonna have some Jags, so it's not like every lineup is gonna be Chiefs and Steelers. I'll do some other dumbass stuff, but
No doubt can be
overall,
charged with DD and Jags defense double dip.
no.
Mayo is on that. That's his play.
I love it. Is that?
Uh,
I mean, I love it. Shout out to CSU Ram, great all time player. But man, has that double dip ever worked? I feel like that was his account. I'm gonna go shut Millie up for 1 second. Be right back.
Okay.
Why don't you lead us off with some defense talk? 'Cause
Sure.
We got to be out of here in 5 minutes.
Just to answer Joey's question from chat, I like Peyton Barber. I'm not going to Jacquez. Let's move defense. As we said earlier in the show, Seahawks. It's just picking on Josh Rosen is a thing. He's just the O line is gone. Sorry, Cardinals. They're going to get to him. The Rams, not to go on a tangent. The Rams scored a defensive touchdown last week. Really could have used it. They reversed the call. I don't understand that. I think the Seahawks are the most obvious and optimal defense for cash, and if I can afford them, I will be playing them.
Yeah, it's a funny week because I think normally we see like you can kind of be contrarian by spending up for defense, but I don't think that will be the case at all here because there's plenty of value out there. So, do I like the Seahawks the best? Yeah, I do.
There's options up and down, though. Like, if you don't want to pay, for me, the Bills' defense at home against the dumpster fire that is the Dolphins, especially if it's freezing or snowing, that's a good spot. There's a bunch of them, though. You have anyone else?
Yeah, I don't hate. I mean, I like the Texans obviously, and I don't think they'll be super popular because I think if people are up there, they'll just go with the Seahawks. Bortles is horrid. That said, he could put up a lot of fantasy points for 4,400. That's all I'm saying. The Steelers, I think, are fine. Oh, I really like the Eagles and Chiefs. If I'm spending down a little bit, the Eagles are in a really good spot. They have
last week were super cheap, and I played them, and they gave up about 50 points, but they were still okay.
yeah, and Washington just has no receivers and they don't have a quarterback who's gonna make a bunch of reads. Not like Josh Johnson is like horrible, but like he's not gonna make 3 reads and like hang in there long enough to take advantage of the cornerbacks that Philly has. And Philly's front 7 is unbelievable still.
He couldn't do that even if he wanted to, because they will have no time.
Right. Plus, Josh Doxson is out, so they're losing like a major weapon.
Wow, that's a killer. That changes the whole dynamic of the offense.
Yep. No, but real talk, I do think that this is a great matchup for Philly because like their secondary stinks, but like you still need time and someone has to get open anyway, and like they have Washington's receivers are just as bad as like the Philly cornerbacks at this point, and like he's not going to have time to throw. So.
I don't know if Chad asked, is Rosen healthy? I honestly have no idea. It doesn't matter. Like Mike Glennon or him.
Oh yeah, Mike Glennon is a primo fantasy
it's quarterback. Yeah. It's not gonna. I'll give you my real off the wall one. The Vikings at home. Everson Griffin it hasn't transformed the defense, but it's helped the pass rush. They're starting to get more pressure. I think Trubisky. I don't know. I'm trying to get him right. I've targeted him and it hasn't worked, but we know he's not immune to making some real dumb mistakes. If you don't want to leverage with Cousins and those guys, I think you can go to the Vikings defense at home. Not going to be popular.
Okay. One that I know will not be popular that I think is kind of crazy. I mean, I guess it's possible it's popular. The most expensive defense on the board is the Rams. And I think people think that Nick Mullins is good. He's not. And I think people know that the Rams defense is bad. It is. However, they just have the best player, and they have an incredible pass rush because of him, and because of Sue. Like, people will double team him, but I just don't know how much you can really do. San Francisco's interior, their offensive line is worse than the outside, if I remember correctly. There's potential for a lot of big bad plays for the 49ers offense.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're the most expensive, you're going to garner you have like a built-in base of ownership just because there are people who, if they have that money, they'll spend it. Seahawks are going to be more popular. There's no doubt about that. I worry a little. I'm not sure what the Rams are going to do. Like, will they start resting personnel? Maybe. But for a defense, it's not overly concerning unless it happens early enough. So
they have backup. Do they even have any backups on that team? Like, they're such a thin defense.
They are thin.
That was a joke. They have to, but they certainly have people on the roster. But
yeah, Brandon Cooks is going back to cornerback. They are thin though. Like, there's no doubt about that. They don't. I don't have this obviously in front of me, but I would venture to say a lot of their packages. It's a core guys. Whereas some teams certainly have more guys in and out who play a significant amount of snaps. But I know we got to get out of here somewhat soon. Any final thoughts or whatnot?
No, I think it's a wide open week. Make sure you pay attention to the news. Make sure you check in on Sunday. Ben and Laffy will be doing the final countdown. What's it called now?
No, I've only done it for 16 weeks. It's not like I should know it. It's called the game plan.
Game plan, right? I've seen it. It's got the chalkboard. It's good stuff.
It's true. You can use. I'd say use that, but what you really should do, if you haven't signed up, use the promo code from A to B. You get a free week. You can test it out. For us in particular, you know why now's a good time to do it? Because golf is coming back, and golf is awesome for DFS. It's going to be monster tournaments. Check out the golf product. If you haven't played it, it's actually really fun. I know you might be skeptical because it's golf, but it's just a great DFS sport.
Yeah, it's very up and down. You know, you can have some disaster weeks in golf, but man, like the payoffs when it's good are so good. Like the way both of us play, it's just pretty good at golf, and we will help you guys work on that process. We have a ton of really sharp subs too. Our Slack channel is awesome. So yeah, give it a whirl. Make us look good if you don't mind. It's back next week. There's a 30-man field.
We're gonna be breaking it down. Stay tuned. We may shift it around. Obviously, we'll get into a groove. There's always a little growing pains right at the beginning of the start of the season. Yeah. So you can hit us on Twitter and whatnot. we're both going to be around talking plenty of golf in addition to everything else.
Right, because I don't think our next show will be until that golf show because we have Monday's New Year's Eve and there's no Monday Night Football. Maybe we'll do a quick breakdown or rewind, but we'll see. And then Tuesday is New Year's Day, so most likely what we will do, and this will not be the normal thing. Normally Tuesday will be the golf show. This week it will likely be Wednesday. We'll break that down. We'll talk about Ted Potter Jr. and how he is in the Tournament of Champions because he is.
It's true.
Gonna be good stuff. All right. Thanks everyone for listening. Ben, great talking to you. Stick around. We got On the Contrary coming up next with Osmo, Evan Silva, and Chris Baggs. Watch Ben on Sunday morning, and we'll catch you all soon.